Welcome to Life Transformation Radio. This show is all about life transformations and our journey from where we were to why we are doing what we are doing today. We will discuss the hiccups, the roller coasters, and the blood, sweat, and tears that has been poured out while discovering our purpose. It is all about our transformations. Here is your host, Sean Douglas.
Welcome, everyone, to Life Transformation Radio. I am your host, Master Resilience Implementer, TEDx speaker, performance enhancement expert, and author, Sean Douglas. And this show is heard in over 44 countries, such as the U.S., India, Canada, France, Australia, Panama, and Belgium. So thank you to those who are listening from around the world. Life Transformation Radio is all about our transformations. Here is where we tell the stories of why we're doing what we're doing, highlighting those transformational moments that have changed our lives, and how we're using these to help transform others and elevate their lives as well. You can listen to us every Wednesday and on the first and third Fridays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time, but look out for those special pop-up episodes on second and fourth Fridays, as well as maybe a Tuesday or a Thursday we throw in there for book launches, product launches. If you think that there's somebody that should be on the show, send me a message. You can email me at Sean@thesuccesscore, C-O-R-P-S, thesuccesscore.com. Send me an email or find us on Facebook. You can also join our Facebook community, Life Transformation Radio Community. You can interact with the guests, ask them questions, and just talk about transformation. So on the show, my guests are impactful and amazing people that are elevating everyone around them. And my guest today does exactly that. If you have any questions for any of the guests that we have on the show, this is a live broadcast, so you can call in at 657-383-1109. Again, the number is 657-383-1109. And my guest today is Carmen Reed-Gilkison. Hopefully I said that right. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Sean. I'm super happy to be here. And yes, you did say it right. So kudos.
Awesome. So I'm pumped. I was on your show, The Side Hustle Rage, which I think was an amazing podcast. And I had so much fun. I had to get you on my show. And so, yeah, thank you so much for your willingness to come and share with us today.
Oh, I'm grateful to you. So thank you. Yes, and it was fun having you on mine. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So this episode is titled Business Growth Strategy with Carmen Reed-Gilkison. Carmen is an ambitious 50-something hell-bent on changing the world one business at a time. She's a business growth strategist who identifies untapped revenue and assesses strengths and weaknesses to create a strategic game plan for success. Business owners are ready to become empowered, ditch overwhelm, and grow their businesses to their full potential. And Carmen gets them there. With over 17 years in her role as proposal department manager for a multi-million-dollar construction firm, Carmen has honed her process development, communication, and marketing skills to win single contracts in excess of $100 million. She's now using her experience to help small businesses crush their competition. And you can find her at the websites at profitablebusiness.solutions. Go to locally.rocks. And then check out her podcast at sidehustlerage.com. She's all over Facebook, Locally Rock, Side Hustle Rage. You got to look her up. All of the links are in the show notes, so you can definitely find her there. So I'm like blown away, like $100 million contracts. That is insane, but awesome.
It is insane, yeah. Well, and it's because I work with or for a construction company that does the high voltage electrical utility work. Mm-hmm. So it's working on our nation's infrastructure, and those contracts tend to get quite large.
Oh, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. So the first question I always ask every guest when they come on the show, right when we get started, is why? You know, why did you decide to do what you do now?
Well, I've had my esteemed career, and it is fabulous. It's been great, but I got to a point where, and maybe it was when I turned 50, you kind of get to a point in life where you're thinking, okay, I've made it. I've done the things I've wanted to do. I've created some fabulous opportunities for myself and for others, but what's next? I just couldn't see I couldn't see anything in the future for myself. There was a time there where I was kind of like, what is next? This just kind of seemed like it was it, and that this couldn't be it. And so in my journey trying to discover what did I really want to do, I knew that I wanted to help people in a more meaningful way. I think what I do in my job now and just in life in general, I do try to help people, but it's not in a way that I can actually quantify. It's not something that I could say I wake up every day and I'm helping people. And so during my transition and my trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I started striking up conversations with business owners when I would be just out on the town, or if my husband and I went on vacation, you go into the little shops or wherever you're visiting and that kind of thing. And so as I did that, I found that there was a common thread in all these conversations, that the local brick and mortar business owners really were struggling with the fact that big box stores and online shopping are potentially taking away their livelihood, and they're stressed out. They're working on their passion projects, whatever it is, the business that they have, they love. But as a business owner, running a business takes everything you've got. And so when it comes time then to market and get onto social media and do all that kind of stuff, they're very overwhelmed with that. And so initially what I had done is I decided, and this is where Locally Rocks comes in, is I decided to help local brick and mortar business owners, which is still my passion, but I wanted to teach them how to do social media marketing. And so as I did this and I started helping them, I started seeing another commonality, and that was the overwhelm that they're feeling. It was more of a mindset issue than anything else. I mean, I can teach anyone how to do something following a step-by-step procedure, but it's a lot more difficult to change mindset, and that's where the meaningful change happens. So then I decided, I need to start looking into coaching, because coaching, I'm going for my ICF, International Coaching Federation certification in coaching, because it's really the courses that I'm taking, the program that I'm going through is phenomenal. And what it does basically is it allows me to be that much better of a resource for my clients, because I'm able to help them understand where their blocks are. Whereas before it was more like hey, if you follow this process, this will get you where you want to be. But, it really won't necessarily if you don't have the mindset correctly. So anyway, one thing leads to another. I think we were talking about before we got on the show right now that, we're always moving, we're always changing, we're always doing something. And I think it's just important to follow all those little cues that you pick up and go with them. And so now I'm working towards the business growth strategy, which includes social media marketing, but it includes so much more, and not the least of which is mindset.
There you go. Awesome. So can you pinpoint exactly one or maybe two transformational moments in your life that propelled you onto the path of where you are now? Like we always talk about Mothers Against Drunk Driving. She started it because her daughter was killed by a drunk driver. People become advocates of sexual assault and rape victims, because they once dealt with that trauma. A lot of us in the military community, we become trainers and representatives in different things for those that are dealing with mental health and PTSD, and we always want to help people. So is there something in your life that kind of pushed you into the direction that you're going right now?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to pinpoint it all the way back to when my daughter was born 24 years ago. She was my catalyst for change for the better in my life. So prior to her being born, I was kind of on a ups and downs kind of path, didn't have really very much direction, didn't really have that much ambition. But But once she came into the world, it was like someone flipped a switch, and now suddenly it was, I have someone to live for. I have someone who counts on me, and I want to create the best possible life for that person that I can. And so through the whole process of raising a daughter and being a woman myself and seeing all the things that we can face. I mean, women can face some things that are a little bit more challenging, I think, than men at times. And I've always wanted to make sure that she had the stability and the ability to do whatever she wants to do. So part of it, I've always wanted to be able to have my own company. But I was a single mom with her, and I wasn't able to start a company and leave my, full-time corporate job that was making good money and giving me health benefits. So by doing this, by starting my own company and helping others, it's not only just about helping the business owners, it's about helping my daughter, my granddaughter, my stepdaughter, and anyone else that is interested and, drawn to it, to learn how to create a life for themselves the way that they want to do it, to help others and to do it on their terms.
That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
So what was that path that you took? You talked about getting the international coaching certification. So talk about some of the things that you've done in order to get you to become a business growth strategist and secure those contracts for hundreds of millions of dollars.
Sure. Well, the contracts and the processes and everything that I've learned in my career has been over the course of, I've been in the construction industry for 25 plus years. I've been at the same company that I'm at currently still 17 years running this proposal department.
Wow.
And so that's been basically
awesome.
just learning through experience and learning through growth and helping take a company from, just a family-run company to the company that it is now. And, I remember when we got our first $1 million contract was huge way back when. And now to think that there are contracts over $100 million and that I'm part of that. And it's just been phenomenal. It's been a phenomenal learning experience. And really, that's kind of how I do it. Is I'm an experienced kind of person. Whatever you do, I dive into. I want to figure it out. I like to know the details about everything. Why does it work? How does it work together? Take a look at the big picture and dive in. So I've really been, it's just how I'm wired, is to learn as I do, And then when it came to wanting to help other businesses, I had to obviously take a lot of courses and learn social media marketing and business marketing on a different level because it's not the same.
Sure.
So I'm a certified content marketing strategist, a certified email marketing strategist. I'm getting my coaching certification. So it's been, what I did was when I decided to do this, I gave myself 5 years. And so I'm on just starting year 3. So the past 2 years have been learning, growing, helping business owners and seeing how to hone that and how to make it better and just growing. And so that's what it is. And so this whole aspect of my life has started recently, whereas my catalyst for change, my daughter, was 24 years ago. But just because something happened so long ago, it doesn't mean that it's not relevant to what you're doing now. So, it's, that need to create the best for myself and the best for her, to show her how she can do it herself as well, that never stops. And so that's definitely, she's definitely the number one reason I do what I do.
Yeah, you mentioned a couple different certifications. Where does someone go to find them or get certified in those areas that you're certified in?
Well, I went through the digital marketer, digital marketer, but there are several different companies that do certifications. Digital marketer is excellent, so that's definitely who I went through. I think it's digitalmarketer.com.
Okay.
And then
is it an online program?
It is an online program, yep.
Okay. Perfect.
And then for the International Coaching Federation, you have to go to a coach training school that is certified through the ICF. So, or by the ICF. They only take, they have a stringent course requirement, so you have to go through one. So the one that I'm working through now is local to me here in Portland. And so I'm working through that, but it's,
awesome.
you know, whatever you can find. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, fair enough. So what has been the best part so far that sticks out in your mind about your transformation into what you're doing now?
It's completely opened up a whole new world to me, really. And it's opened up a whole new world, not only to me personally, but it's shown me how much there is and how much people can do. I mean, I've always been ambitious, but now working on this, building my business on the side while working full time, that is something that takes a lot of grit, you know. It's like
right.
I've got a high pressure job and I'm starting a business on the side, and it just takes a lot. So it shows me what people can do when you put your mind to it and what you can accomplish. So
perfect.
Really, that's
talk
it.
Talk about one of the worst things that has happened and how you've overcome.
Well, I've had a lot of kind of bad things happen in my life. One of them, when I was 26, my dad committed suicide, so that was probably the hardest.
Wow.
For me. Yeah.
Ouch.
So, yeah, that was a rough one. And that was, I can say that I pretty much crashed and burned for a couple of years after that. But
Jeez.
then a little bit after that is when my daughter came into my life. So that was even kind of more of I think that's probably one of the reasons that makes her birth such a catalyst in my life. I mean, besides the fact that she's my daughter and I love her to death, you know, but because our family was pretty much shattered when my dad committed suicide, and so then it was my chance to create my own little family there, and that so much was poured into that. And so, you know, I think that tragedies can really give you, the impetus to pour your all into something as you go forward, because you've got to do something to get past it. And I can tell you that a tragedy of that magnitude doesn't just go away. It's with you forever, actually, but it takes a really long time to even for the pain to lessen, for your focus to come back, for your, you know, it's just rough. So.
Oh yeah. So I think it's safe to say that she's influenced you just as much as you've influenced her over the years. So talk about some of the influencers that you've had and who's influenced you. It could be Tony Robbins, or it could be, you know, somebody local to you, mentor, coach. Talk about that. Yeah,
I mean, I think just a lot of different people. There are people at the company that I work with that influence me. Really, the kind of people that influence me, I would say it's more of a type of a person, and it's someone that is open and loving towards everyone else, and that still is able to, or I don't even think still is able to, but because of that they are successful. You know, you can, when you meet someone who is magnanimous and they're charismatic and they care and they work hard and they work side by side with you, no matter what level they're at in an organization or in their life, where it's someone where they set those levels aside. I should say status, you know, status doesn't matter. Those are the kind of people that influence me. So I have several of those in my life.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, when we talk about, you know, influencers, I think a lot of people automatically go to, like, you know, Gary Vaynerchuk and Simon Sinek and, you know, Seth Godin and, you know, Tony Robbins, John Mack, like the big guys, right? I mean, but I mean, we're influenced by people every day. We're influenced by people, you know, in our personal lives that we don't even realize until, you know, you have a breakthrough. You're like, man, like I couldn't have done that without you. Like, holy crap, man. And I really want people to realize that, you know, you have somebody in your own backyard that could be a door opener for you. You know, that could bust down the doors and just elevate you. So, networking events are great. Go to networking events. Any event that you attend or speak at or whatever, just introduce yourself to everybody. Like, you never know. And then everybody says, well, what about the business cards that you get? I always try to look them up on LinkedIn. Every single business card I ever get, I see if they're on LinkedIn or not. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's pretty big.
Yeah, and one of the things I used to do was I would look at the people that I admired, the people that were, in my mind, successful, and I would think, okay, what do they do in their life? It's kind of the thing where surround yourself with the most, the 5 most influential people, or the 5 closest people to you, or who you're going to be is the average of who you're going to be. But, it's kind of like I would look at them and say, what do they do? They get up early, they work out, they do this, they do that. They're responsible, they're loving, they're family people, they're this, they're that. I mean, I would really study these people and see the commonalities. And so I would strive to do the same things, because it really is true. Successful people are successful for a reason. And even, obviously, Tony Robbins and Gary Vaynerchuk and all that, those guys are obviously successful. And the reason that I don't choose someone like that as who really influences me is because they're a little bit too celebrity for me. I really do like the down to earth. And I'm not saying that they're not down to earth either, but you know what I mean? Someone in my own life. So I think what you're talking about is exactly right.
Accessible.
People have, right, exactly. They're not accessible. So that's the perfect way to state it. Yeah.
Yep. No, I totally get it. I know people that are absolutely crushing it, and I could just call them, guys are in the news, guys are, ladies who are just doing amazing things on the TEDx stage, and absolutely some people that I look up to and are just absolutely dominating in their market, and I could just call them, because when you're growing up, unless your parents were in this mindset, at least mine weren't, is that you didn't think that fame and power and money and everything that you see on TV and in mob movies and whatever, like that's not an ideal life for you. It's, wake up to school, get a job, maybe college, maybe military, go to work, pay bills, have a family, take some vacations, die. That's it. That's the life,
Right.
And I found out very quickly when I joined the military and I was overseas and got to go to all kinds of cool places. Like, this is what I want. Like, not so much the travel. Like, travel is cool and it get irritating though, but just living a life where, like, where do you want to go? Let's go to Australia. Let's go to New Zealand. Let's go to Thailand. Let's go to Bali. Let's go to Bermuda. Whatever. Let's go. Let's just check things out. Let's just go see the world. That's what I love about being in the military is I get to see the world. And I did lots of European countries. So I just can't live my life without growing as a person. And I believe that you must first fix what's going on inside you before you can fix what's going on around you. So if your business is failing, it might be an internal problem, not an external problem. So talk about some of the strategies, or talk about some of the things that you do and what you love most about what you do.
Well, basically, I love the most to see a transformation happen when someone is confused and overwhelmed with what they have to do. Business owners are very busy and they've got so much on their plate. And then to really consider growing, there's so many other things that they have to do. So how do you make that accessible to them and not be more overwhelming? And so there are just all kinds of strategies, mindset I was talking about, but I've got a system that I use, the 5-step profit formula, and it's more leads, more conversions, more transactions, higher prices, and more profits. And so I work with my clients through an online learning system that helps them understand the fundamentals of business and of these processes, and then I coach them. And so depending on, how the level of package that they're working with me, are they meeting with me one time a week, twice a week, once a month? It's kind of up to them what they want to do and what they can do. but it's the best part of it is to take them from being confused to that aha moment. It's great. One of my clients describes it as watching the fog lift. Suddenly something that was completely inaccessible to them before makes sense. So that's my favorite part of it.
I love it.
Facilitating that change. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, when I can give somebody some advice or kind of have a 10,000-foot view of their business or their life or whatever, and I see things, I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's not good. Like, yeah, that's not good. This change this, do this, and you just give them that one piece. Like, I know things, about podcasting that somebody may not, and if I could give them that information, and all of a sudden they use it and it elevates them, like, yeah, like that's awesome. Like I had a hand in helping someone along. That's what I want my life and my legacy to be. Like a person of value. Because everything else is just a byproduct at that point. The money and the growth and the, recognition, whatever you want to call it, is just a byproduct of you providing value. And then, that's it. So
Right.
I definitely love everything you're doing. So if I came to you and I said, hey, I've got this speaker business and I'm not sure where I want to go, or if I got whatever business, whatever it is, I'm an entrepreneur, products and whatever, what are some of the things that you tell people that they need to do?
Well, communication is the first thing because,
Okay.
people, I think it depends on what people have done previously. So there's always an assessment that starts things off. I need to find out where someone's at. And what I find out a lot of times is that people are, they're told that they need a website, so they put up a website, but their website maybe just has not the most compelling copywriting on there that would help people get into their world, So and people just don't understand that because, you need a website, so that's money, and then that's time, and then that's either figuring out how to do it yourself or paying someone to do it for you. So there's that component of it. But then what happens is then there's the copywriting, and people don't think about that, and so they do what they think they should do, or they not copy infringement or anything, but they kind of copy the template of someone else in the industry and think, well, if it's working for them, it'll work for me. And that just doesn't really work. So that's why and that's why I love what I'm doing too, is because it's a multifaceted approach to everything because there's so many different moving parts and pieces to it. So it would start with an assessment. We'd see where you're at. We would take a look at your website. We would do an assessment on the website. I would show you exactly what is working and what isn't working. And then I like to teach people about the conversion equation. So this one's something that everyone can walk away with today. When you're doing copywriting of any kind, what you want to do is interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. So you're trying to interrupt, meaning someone's scrolling around, they're looking on Google or they're on Facebook or whatever it is, and they see one of your posts or they see your website, and whatever that headline is, it kind of shocks them into attention all of a sudden. So that's the interrupt. And then you want to engage, where your subheadline then kind of speaks to whatever problem or issue that they're looking to resolve. You engage with them. And the engage means that you're connecting to them on some level. And all of this requires knowing who your target audience is, right? So there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into that as well. But then you want to educate your audience, just like what you said. You want to be of value because everything else it comes secondary. And so education comes in the form of your posts and what you write and your blogs and your this and that and answering questions, like you said. I loved what you said, because being able to give someone a tip or something that's going to really help propel them. And then, you have people in your life that you think, man, that person was great because they told me this one thing, and that one thing really helps me out a lot. And to be that person for someone else is just awesome,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's what the educate is. And then you want to once you've done all that, you're leading them down your little path to the offer. And so the offer, whatever it is that your business is doing, then needs to be so compelling and irresistible that they can't turn it down. And so I work with people and try to help them hone that so that then once you've got that conversion equation going, you're pretty much unstoppable.
There you go. I like it. Thanks for sharing. What do you think people fail at the most at? Is there a recurring theme, a trend?
A really good question. I think the thing that they fail the most at is underestimating what it takes to be successful, and possibly what I'm thinking about is investing in themselves. I think a lot of people want to try to. I'm all for DIY stuff. I'm all for it, and I'm all for learning. I think people should learn stuff. But you know what? Running a business and then doing the marketing and doing every single thing that needs to be done and doing it at a top-notch level is impossible for one person to do. That's just a fact.
I agree.
So I think the biggest failure is that people try to do it all and they're trying to save money and they don't realize that they're just, even though they've maybe, let's say it's a faucet and they've turned the faucet down so the money is just trickling out because they're doing so much themselves, it's really going to start going faster and faster out the door because the end result isn't going to get them the business in the door that they need to, have more money coming in. So it's kind of a slow death by not investing in yourself. And so I think that's just the biggest.
Yep. Yeah, that's pretty hard because sometimes, you're building a business like, well, if a marketer, I'm just throwing numbers out. Let's say a marketer is $1,000 a month on a retainer, whatever. So you have to bring in more money in order to afford that person. And I know a lot of, early entrepreneurs are like, well, I mean, I can't afford that, but once I make money, then I'll afford it. Once I make money. Sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and just get that person because that person might unlock that money you're trying to unlock. So getting the right pieces in place, and I've learned that. Yeah.
And hopefully that person is going to be bringing the money in for you. So that's how I like to structure my packages is, there's always I have certain costs I have to cover, but I like to work with people so that if they're having a financial crisis or an issue, then I like to set things up so that on the back end, then I take a percentage of profits that I help them generate. So that way they're not out anything up front. It's just I get paid by the work that I do for them. So it's kind of a win-win situation at that point.
There you go. Yeah, I don't think that, it's just one way. Kind of like, when event planners contact me, it's like, hey, we'd like you to speak. They ask me what a fee is. Hey, what's your fee? I'm like, I don't have a fee. I have an honorarium that is approximately $3,500, depending on where they're at. They might be in California, and I might say $5,500 because I know their events. I know what they're going to pay. So I'm, $5,500. They're like, well, we can only pay $1,000. I'm like, Jesus. Okay. So now it's like you don't just automatically say, oh no. I've gone from no budget to a little bit of budget to we'll buy a bunch of books because we have this other budget, so then I end up still getting paid, what I wanted to get paid anyways, but you don't just give up. But there's things I could do, like, instead of just only speaking as a keynote, I will also do a breakout session. So I will do a keynote and a breakout session, and they're like, okay, well, that's worth $4,500. I'm like, absolutely it is. So then they kind of see that justification. So I always talk about perceived value. Whenever you have that perceived value, like if someone looks at your packages and stuff and goes, really, $25K? What? Like I would never pay that. I'm like, what if I said if you give me $25K, I'll hand you $100K immediately? And they're like, oh yeah, I'll do that every time. I'm like, well, it only takes a year. The only difference is I'm saying, give me the $25K, and in a year you may end up, making $100K. So it's not like a 5-minute transaction. It's more like a year. I'm going to show you how to do it, and I don't think they realize that.
Well, I think that's a very good point. That's another mistake is that people also think that they can throw money at a problem or hire someone to do something and they don't have to do the work. And that's completely not right. So it takes you understanding, you know, as the business owner, you really are the business. The business is an extension of you. So you need to understand, you need to do the work. You can certainly hire someone to do something, but that's why when I started teaching people how to do social media marketing, my goal is to teach them how to do it, not to do it for them. Because even if they decide down the road they want to hire an agency, then they at least understand how to have a conversation with that agency. They understand if those people are talking about the correct things or if they're trying to screw them over or whatever. You know, you've got to have some kind of knowledge. And while you can't do everything yourself, there's definitely value in learning and having the knowledge behind it.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've said that I'm going to read 52 books this year. That's my goal. So basically read one book a week. And I've read 4 so far, so I'm kind of lacking in that department. But I mean, the more I read, I mean, now, it's not that I don't read. I mean, I'm constantly, you know, not even Facebook articles. I mean, I'm looking on Inc. and Entrepreneur, and I mean, I'm constantly reading these 3-minute articles and always, you know, grabbing the knowledge and consuming. But my issue is that I consume so much that now I'm totally conflicted on what I need to do, because this article says do it this way, this article says do it this way. We kind of arrive at the same point, but how do I know what's best for me? And I think that's what you were saying earlier, is that, like, you got to get a mentor, because this person will tell you what to do and what not to do, and they will reel you in, and they will tell you the stupidity that you're doing, which is what I need. You know, somebody. That's why I have like 2 or 3 mentors, you know, that are like, dude, what are you doing? Like, no, God, no. I was like, no, I read it. I totally read it. I read it to do this. And a lot of people are like, oh, I got the online university, you know, YouTube. I can just YouTube anything I want. I just Google anything I want. I don't need a mentor. That's great. Consume it. Take action on it. But how do you know if that's the right path? You don't, because that's why you have a mentor who's smarter than you.
Right. And the other thing with that is that, you know, no one is putting out their entire strategy online. So you may you could watch someone launch something that's in your industry and follow the steps that you see, but you're only seeing the tip of the iceberg. So it's working for them because of everything that's under the surface that you don't see. And so if you even followed every single thing, and I've heard people say this, that, you know, someone copied my launch exactly, or someone copied my website, or someone copied whatever it was. And so people are out there doing this, and they're so misguided because you're not copying the whole thing. You don't understand why that person did it. And it's working for that person because of A, B, C, and D that you have no idea what those are. So you could try to copy everything you see, and it's not going to work for you because it's not your thing, and there's no strategy behind it. So
there you go.
You know, there's that piece.
That's huge. Yep, that's huge. Absolutely, that's huge. So I got to ask you, what are some of the resources that you've used to gain all the knowledge and move, you know, even the construction business and everything that you have a hand in? What are some of the resources that you've used during your journey?
Really, it's just reading. And I mean, I'm super curious. And so I get into whatever it is. So for instance, let's say we head back 25 years to when I first got into the construction industry and I didn't know anything about it. So what I tried to do, and this is kind of my modus operandi as I go forward through my life, is I tried to be as helpful to everyone as I could. So I started out as a receptionist in the Bay Area at a construction company many moons ago, and people would call in and they'd have a question about something, and I wouldn't know what the answer was, but I'd say, you know what, I'm not sure, but I'll find the answer out and I'll call you back. And so I started doing that, and I took that on myself along with my other duties, and that is how I learned what all these things were, where someone else who's just coming in the door to sit down and answer the phone and put in the minimal effort isn't gonna rise to the top because they're not putting any extra in. And so I don't care what it is you're doing. You try to be the most value to everyone that you can, and by doing that, you learn too. So that's my strategy with it. I mean, the resources are,
that's awesome.
You can find resources for anything you want to do online, whether you're looking for a local resource to where you live or the best resource, in the industry or an online resource. Everything is searchable online, which is fantastic.
Sure.
But it's not going to do you any good unless you have the right attitude and you take into consideration that you want to take this information and be as helpful as you can to other people. And then you get out there and you start implementing it, because you also aren't going to do yourself any favors by doing a bunch of courses and not doing anything with it. You learn tenfold once you start implementing things than you did going through a course. So,
funny you mentioned that. I still have courses that I bought that are still sitting in my email that I haven't even used yet from last year. Like, end your year on fire. Start your year like crazy, and it's like I bought it. It's sitting in the email. I haven't even opened it yet.
And they could very well be good.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it could be something that I'm desperately needing and searching for that I didn't even know that I'm, that I have.
Right.
But the one thing is, like, I said this year, like, I'm not going to have bright, shiny object syndrome and try to create a bunch of things and, consume a bunch of things and, whatever. And I'm definitely going to try to be, like, laser focused. I think that's very important because I just have the attention span of a goldfish. And so one of the things that I've said is that, like, I'm not going to do the stupid stuff that I've always done before, And so far I've been pretty good. I haven't gone out and bought a whole bunch of, I need that $47 book. Oh, yeah, I need that $200, kind of half course, half ebook thing. Oh, there's something in this Facebook. There's a launch going on. Oh, I need that, Yeah, that's just bad. That's just bad.
Yeah, you might be interested in this book that I'm reading right now called The Willpower Instinct. Very interesting book. But yeah, I try to do I'll have to see how many books. And the way that I get through them is listening to them on Audible. Do you do Audible? Or do you like to read instead of listen?
No, I'd rather read. I consume and digest more when I read, because when I hear things, it's like, yep, hear it, got it, whatever. But I'm a visual learner, so when I read things, I'm a horrible audio learner. My wife will tell you, she'll try to talk to me all day, and half of it comes and half of it I'm like, what?
Oh, that's funny.
I'm a horrible listener.
Yeah. Well, that's how I get through a bunch of books, and I find it really helpful. But what I do is when I find a good one that I think I want to go back and highlight things, then I buy the hard copy. So.
Yeah.
It's like a 2-step process, yeah.
I'll tell you what, though, just a sidetrack for that. I cannot stand going to a used bookstore and, like, there's a bunch of, like, notes and stuff in there, like highlighted areas and what, because that might have resonated with them, but that totally doesn't resonate with me. And now I'm stuck on the highlighted areas and why those are important. I'll drive myself crazy. Why is it important? I don't know why that's important. It's so stupid. Like, that's, and I just get so wrapped around the axles about it. I'm like, I hate this book. This book's stupid. So I don't buy. I go to used bookstores and, I might see a book. I'm like, let me thumb through the pages. Nah, that's highlighted. Nope. Sorry. I'll just go buy it, And usually I just get a bunch of things off Amazon anyways. So, but yeah, thank you for sharing all that for the I think that was key, what you were talking about, in that we got to keep the focus, right? And then if we're audio or visual learners, figure out how we are, because I can watch a YouTube video, like, oh, that's how you do it. Okay. And then I can visually, because I've already visually seen it, if they say click this and do this and have that and do this and post this, and I'm like, what? Like what? Like I have to visually see it. So I think when you can capitalize on your own strengths, that's the best way to go. And get a mentor is basically what we're saying. Get a mentor.
Right.
So
yeah.
So talk about your podcast. Why did you start your podcast? What's been amazing about it? Talk about what it's about.
Sure, thank you. The podcast is called The Side Hustle Rage, and you can find that on iTunes and Google Play and on the website, thesidehustlerage.com. And I started that because when I was first getting into this whole I'm going to start a business on the side thing, I kept finding communities that were about, people that didn't like their job. They didn't like their job. They hate their job. And it was really kind of a negative mindset around what they are doing during the day. And that's why they're starting a business. And that was completely not my story. And I thought, I can't be the only one who this is not my story. So I wanted to start a podcast, the Side Hustle Rage podcast, to be able to have people share their stories about their side hustle, what's working, what's not. And the best thing about it has been all of the people that I've gotten to interview and the connections that I've made. I mean, I wouldn't be on this show right now if you hadn't been on mine. And the array of inspiration that I get to share with the audience every week is amazing to me. Every show has something for everybody, I think, and if it doesn't, the next week's show will. So it's just been a fantastic journey. And it just helps me feel like I'm getting some information out there for people who do want to start a side hustle and who might be hesitant for, any reason. There's so many different reasons to worry about it. I mean, it's more time. It's how am I going to find the thing? What am I going to do? And so with so many different stories and different people coming from different passions, sharing what their path was, my hope is that it will help other people that want to be able to start one and who maybe were hesitating on doing that.
Yeah. Oh, and absolutely. And like you said, it's on the Google Play music app. You just search for Side Hustle Rage. I mean, you had some amazing guests on here. Like Mark Moini was on there, and Tracy Minatolo, who was awesome. Tracy Minatolo is super awesome. I like her. Courtney Lynn Harris, who I just had on my show earlier this week.
Awesome.
Yeah, just had her on Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday we talked about. Oh yeah, he's good. He's good, but I was just, man, like some of the people that you've had on the show, like, gotta listen to that. Gotta listen to that. Because it's so good, and there's a lot of great strategies that are shared on the show that people may not be aware of, But I think that some of the people that you've had on the show, like Katrina McGee. Amazing if you're like healthcare person and doing research and just in corporate America. I think that's a great show, and I've listened to a lot of them, and you have a great show. I mean, I haven't listened to the last couple. I listened up until Mark's, and then I think whoever the next one was. I know it's a girl. The one after that, Rachel Wright. That was a speaker, right?
Yeah, Rachel Wright is the one who. She went through a kidney transplant, so she's sharing her story. So, there's so many stories of inspiration. Yeah, and it's kind of like how you overcome all these things. You asked me what one of the terrible things was that happened in my life, and, I shared that, and I feel like it's important to share our stories because it helps someone else out there who maybe is hesitant about sharing their story realize that, hey, or listen to someone else doing it and going, maybe I don't have to be afraid to share because, we're all facing something and everyone has a challenge and you're not alone, I think that's the biggest message I would give to people.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So go to the Google Play Music app, iTunes, Stitcher, all that. You can find it, Side Hustle Rage. It is absolutely incredible. And, you don't want to miss it. Definitely don't want to miss it. So, talk about new stuff that's going on. What kind of new projects, businesses, adventures, family? Like, where are you headed now?
Well, let's see. What is new? I'm working on a really cool rollout where I'm helping people find untapped revenue in their business. So I'm doing 10K challenges for people. So if you're interested in that, then you definitely can contact me for those kind of things. It's for a physical, where am I heading to? My daughter and I are going to go to Ireland in October. I'm super excited about that.
Wow.
That's a bucket list item. Yeah, so, and then I'm, a grandmother of an adorable 3-year-old, so she keeps our life extremely happy and full of laughter and joy. And so life is good, I have to say. I'm always moving, changing, morphing, and growing, and that's the way to live as far as I'm concerned.
There you go. Love it. So this is the moment of the show before we close where we do a shameless plug. You can plug friends, quotes, websites, Facebook, your favorite movie, direct people where to go, give a shout out, whatever you want. This is your time to shine. Shameless plug. Go.
All right. Thank you. So if you head over to profitablebusiness.solutions, you can find out the 3 biggest lead generation mistakes small businesses make and how to overcome them all. And then if you head over to locally.rocks, you can find out where your ideal client hangs out online. So we've got a lot of resources out there for people to tap into if they are so inclined.
That's awesome. I think everybody should go there. I mean, because everybody wants to know where they hang out. Because what does everybody say? Like, you need to find out where your clientele hang out. You need to find out where they are. Where do they frequent? What do they do? What do they look like? What's their avatar? Like, where do they?
Yeah.
As soon as you said, figure out where they hang out online. I'm like, ding. Like, hello. Like, everybody needs that.
That's right. Exactly.
That's huge. Awesome. So as we wrap up, can you deliver your best nugget of knowledge that will motivate, transcend, and inspire someone to take action?
Sure. I think that this one, I love it the most because I think it's something easy and comes natural to us, and I think that it's something that people ignore too much. So follow your curiosity. If you have curiosity about something, that is a signal. It's something that's guiding you towards something new. And so you should follow your curiosity like it's breadcrumbs leading you on a path to fulfillment, because basically that's my strong belief that that's what it is. So your curiosity is telling you, hey, check this out. And so listen to it, check it out, because you never know what's going to open up by following that little voice and that little urge to discover something new.
There you go. Love it. Thank you so much. And what is the call to action that we will leave someone with today?
Well, I'm not sure. You mean call to action as far as for them to do something or to go get a download, or what type of call to action?
Yeah, just like a call to action, like you were saying, maybe expand on that, or should they get a mentor, or what is something that they should do today to take action on? Like go to my website and get that. Like I would tell you have to go get that thing. Like I would love to know where people hang out online. I pretty much already do because I have a mentor that says that this is where people hang out for speakers and all that. But depending on your business model, where do they hang out? And I think that that's a big question that a lot of people want answered. So it's a great resource. But as far as a call to action, like I said, it could be anything. What should someone do today that will set them up for success?
Well, one thing that I can offer is if they go to the locally.rocks, and that's the website. It's not a .com, it's a .rocks, and they go to the shop. There are how to optimize your business presence on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Pinterest, and there are some guides there. And so I will give you guys a code that you can download one of these for free, and that code is 1, the number 1, the word free, the number 4, and the word me. 1 free for me, and you can take one of those guides and up your social media presence.
There you go. And I think that everybody should be on LinkedIn. If you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, professional of some kind, you have to be on LinkedIn. That's an untapped resource. I get booked to speak off of LinkedIn all the time. And some of the connections that you make are powerful on there. So that's definitely an untapped resource. So, any last words before we close?
just a big thank you to you for having me on, and I hope I was able to deliver value for people that are listening.
Yeah.
And if anyone has questions, feel free to reach out. I'd love to talk to you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I definitely, I started taking notes. I was like, oh, hold on a second. So, because I think that some of the stuff that you were saying is things that I think I know, but maybe I shove to the side, or maybe it's like, oh yeah, I already know that. Next, let me learn something new. But sometimes you just got to get back to basics and go, yes, I know this. Now let's implement this, because it's not just enough to know something. So a lot of things that you said, especially the interrupt, engage, educate, and offer. I think that's a great. I think it's a great foundation, great jumping off point for people to have that kind of checklist item. But like you said, if somebody copies a launch, yeah, it's great to have those 4 things, but what do those 4 things entail? Well, that's what Carmen is gonna teach you whenever you sign up to coach with her. So thank you for sharing everything that you shared, and it is an honor to have you on the show. Love your podcast, love being in the group, and I've learned a lot. So I appreciate your time, and thank you for coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you, Sean. I appreciate it very much.
So, Life Transformation Radio listeners, another amazing guest impacting everyone around her. If anything resonated with you, please reach out. She's given you a free resource. You got to take advantage of it and connect with her and see if she's the right fit. I know she will be, but contact her. She's all over Facebook. She's not hard to find. Go to the website. The show notes has all of the websites. Go ahead, contact her. She is amazing. So as we close, I say live your brand. Find opportunities every day to live out those values that you hold deep in your heart. And I call that living your brand. So until next episode, have a great night.
Thanks, Sean. Bye.
For a limited time at Sprint, get $50 for each new phone you lease when you switch. That's right, you'll get $50 for each new phone on a prepaid MasterCard issued by MetaBank member FDIC. Just register for the card online and you're good to go. Get a network built for unlimited and a great price at Sprint. It's the best of both worlds. And get $50 on a prepaid MasterCard for each phone you lease. Visit a Sprint store this weekend only for sizzling Sprint Saturday deals.
Card terms, conditions, and expiration apply.